Hello, and welcome back to Lifespan Development. In this video, we will cover the following topics: biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes, periods of development, conceptions of age, and developmental issues. So, when we talk about biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes, what exactly do we mean? Well, biological processes are the changes in an individual's physical nature. Cognitive processes are changes in an individual's thoughts, intelligence, and language. Socio-emotional processes are changes in an individual's relationships, emotions, and personality. Biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes interact as individuals develop. Here's the Venn diagram showing how these pieces are all important to our development. The connection is evident in a couple of different emerging fields in lifespan development. Developmental cognitive neuroscience explores links between development, cognitive processes, and the brain. Development social neuroscience examines connections between socio-emotional processes, development, and the brain. Both fields show that their influence on each other is a constant. In many instances, biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional processes are bidirectional. When we say bidirectional, we mean that it's not just a one-way street. One impacts the other, and then it goes the other way as well. It goes back and forth. A developmental period refers to a time frame in a person's life characterized by certain features. So let's talk about the different age groups that we're going to break the lifespan into for this course. For purposes of this course, we will define these developmental periods in the following way. Prenatal period would be conception to birth. Infancy would be birth to 18 to 24 months. Early childhood would be the end of infancy to 5 or 6 years of age. Middle and late childhood would be about 6 to 11 years old. Adolescence would be 10 to 12 years old, ending at about 18 to 22 years old. And then emerging adulthood would be 18 to 25, where early adulthood would be late teens or early 20s through early 30s. So there's some overlap here. Middle adulthood would be 40 years of age till about 60, and then late adulthood would be 60s or 70s until death. As you can see, these are kind of a range, right? They're not super specific. They're kind of a range that we expect to read about when we look up this information in our text or in other supplemental materials. If you are in a future course, or if you are in some other resource that says adolescence is 11 instead of 10, that's okay. It's kind of fluid. There is no finite number that says this is this exactly. These ranges are the generally accepted times for these periods. So there's 4 types of age. From a lifespan perspective, an overall age profile of an individual involves not just chronological age, but also biological age, psychological age, and social age. What do we think these different ages mean? We know that chronological age is the calendar. It's the actual years that we have been alive. But biological, psychological, and social are a little different. Biological age is a person's age in terms of biological health. So how are they doing for the age they are? Maybe they've had a really tough life, maybe poor nutrition, poor health care. That person at age 40 or 50 is going to seem a lot older than someone who is 40 or 50 who had fantastic nutrition, fantastic access to medical care, and all of those resources throughout that portion, up to that portion of their life. Our psychological age is a person's adaptive capacities compared with those of other individuals of the same chronological age. And this is important in some instances when we're talking about court cases or the responsibility of a person for certain crimes or in certain situations, or even assessing children for developmental milestones. We want to see certain markers met at certain points in their development, so they have to meet those psychological markers as well as the physical ones. A social age is a person's connectedness with others and the adoption of social roles to a level that is the same as other people of that age. So are they adapting well to people who are also their age socially? There's 3 developmental patterns of aging. Normal aging describes most people, with psychological functioning peaking in early middle age. Then pathological aging describes individuals with above average decline. So they're declining faster than the average person as they age, possibly developing some mild cognitive impairment or chronic disease that impairs daily functioning. Successful aging describes individuals maintaining positive physical, cognitive, and socioemotional development longer in life. Let's talk about age and happiness. Adults tend to be happier as they age. Why is this? What are some reasons that adults may tend to be happier as they age? Adults tend to be happier as they age because they have stronger relationships. They might feel less pressure to achieve. They might have more leisure time. They might have more life experience that helps them adapt to change. Also, life satisfaction varies across countries, and health also becomes a better predictor of life satisfaction as people age. Here's a chart kind of talking about how development does not cease in adulthood. So in adolescence, we may be focused on acquisition. We're trying to gain skills. So knowledge, skills, and information are coming in. We're growing and learning still with minimal concern or importance for how we're going to apply those skills. We just need to learn them. In young adulthood, the focus may be on achievement, where that information, that knowledge, that skill is now being used to achieve specific goals. Thoughts and cognitions tend to be focused and intense. In middle adulthood, we more focus on responsibility. Thoughts and cognition broaden to accomplish long-range goals for both the individual and their family unit. Late adulthood is often focused on reintegration, so kind of reflecting back on life and using all of that gained knowledge. Their thoughts and cognition are used to search for meaning in their life. Now let's talk about nature versus nurture. The debate about whether development is primarily influenced by nature or nurture is a long one, and it continues. But my question to you all is, what do you think? What does nature refer to, and what does nurture refer to when we're talking about development? Nature refers to an organism's biological inheritance. Nurture refers to its environmental experiences. So the epigenetic view proposes that development reflects ongoing bidirectional interchange between genes and the environment. Now, this is important. In the next section, we'll talk quite a bit about genetics and genes, but right now we just need to understand that specific DNA sequences can change as the result of environmental inputs, or the way that they activate or don't activate could be the result of different environmental inputs. So this is really important. So these mechanisms actually involve the actual molecular modification of the DNA strand. So this is super important to take away from this screen. So stability change is another issue that we'll talk about. This is the debate about the degree to which early traits and characteristics persist throughout life, or do they change throughout the lifespan? So does an individual become an older version of their early self with the same traits persisting through life? Or do they develop into someone different from whom they were at an earlier point in development? So the continuity versus discontinuity issue is the debate about the extent to which development involves gradual, cumulative change, which would be continuity, or distinct stages, discontinuity. So let's evaluate some developmental challenges. All 3 of these views characterize development throughout the lifespan, and the extent of their individual influences is still highly debated. Here's some different theories of development that we'll cover.